Hey Scorpios, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be doing your November monthly reading here. Let's talk about your meditation. First of all, I feel the distinct need to slow it down. And I'm hearing that for you, it's interesting how the message is coming across. You are being not just asked, but lovingly encouraged to cocoon as you feel the need to cocoon. I heard the song The Tower of Learning by Rufus Wainwright. I saw the image of a castle, but it was actually more of like a tower, like a single tower of a castle, right? I saw this single tower, and I saw you walk up through this castle, get to the very top, and get to this little room that overlooked several meadows. And I saw it, there wasn't much in it, and there was no electricity. I mean, this is pre-industrial revolution meditation. Like, it was very, castle-esque. I saw you sit down at this writing desk and just look out the window in your own world. And then I saw when you were ready coming down from the castle and being greeted by everyone who loves you and welcoming you back into society, active energy, whatever have you. If you have been experiencing, like you have been outputting a lot of energy, the time is upon you where it would behoove you, and by extension, others around you and those who love you, to cocoon, okay? I feel like you've been doing a lot, giving a lot of energy, even talking a lot, moving a lot. It feels like a lot. And now, for others of you, this could be mental activity of a lot, right? Having a lot of mental activity. But I'm hearing a mind, body, spirit cocoon that doesn't need to last forever, but I feel like it has to do with the death key, right? Which is, obviously your key. It is your season too, by the way, so happy birthday season. But it feels like I heard the message, it's time to celebrate your birthday your way. And they're showing me a specific scene from this series called Roseanne. Now it's the Connors, it's been rebooted and everything, but I love this show. I've seen every episode multiple times. It's just one of those shows that I grew up on. And they're showing me a specific scene from Roseanne, one of the early seasons, where it's Dan's birthday, John Goodman's birthday. And he tries to get out of the house before his family wakes up. He gets on his fishing gear and he tries to get out of the house so that he can spend his birthday his own way, like fishing, but he doesn't make it. And so he has to spend his birthday with the way that his family wants to celebrate with him, right? Which is fine, but there's this element of, it feels like you have been doing the good work, doing your work, putting a lot of, output. And I feel like you've also, been doing your part in terms of your relationships, being an active partner, caring for your partner, holding up your end of the partner deal, being a good friend, being, a good daughter, family member, whatever that is for you, neighbor. But there's an aspect of this that wants to come forward and say, the time is upon you coming up here in November for you to celebrate your birthday. And it doesn't have to be your actual birthday. Obviously, you can celebrate your birthday on any day or for a week or for a month, whatever that is for you, in the way that you would most prefer. And I saw the image of the scorpion coming up to represent you. Now, I love scorpion energy, honey. I do have a very special relationship with it because I'm a Scorpio moon. So I understand Scorpio energy from a feeling perspective, right? So when the scorpion is activated, meaning when it raises its stinger and it's ready to sting, that happens, energetically speaking, when it hasn't had enough alone time. Okay? So I'm hearing to balance your own alone time, right? With activity, with social interaction, with being there for other people, with the work that you do, with getting messages out there, with all of this stuff, right? I feel like part of the reason that you're being encouraged to take this alone time is in part so that you can re-emerge and continue being there for others, which you really want to do, right? Continue doing your work. But there is an aspect here where as a Scorpio and in Scorpion energy, if you do not get your own needs met in terms of I'm talking about being in your own energy. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you really need to be alone, especially Scorpios. Let's just tell like it is, people. The fact that it's Scorpio season 2, you're going to be feeling this more strongly as well, right? So if you feel the need to be alone, or just wish that you could take time on your own and not answer the phone, or not even be on the phone, and just be in your own universe, right? And you ignore that, or you can't find a way to make that happen, or give yourself permission to happen, or ask your partner for what you need around, whatever that is, what ends up happening is you end up stinging the people around you. Not because you want to, not because you mean to, because the Scorpio is activated because it hasn't had enough time on its own to process the deep and intense emotions that it feels. Guess what? The energy for the month of November, I just did the collective reading. The energy for the month of November, it's extreme. Not in a bad way, but it is extreme, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. So in order to actively participate in that energy, you are being asked to temper that with time on your own to rebuild your own energy, right? To recharge, to assume the cocoon position. If you think about what happens within a cocoon, right? The caterpillar goes within the cocoon and just like the death key, literally turns to goo. Wow, super uncomfortable, also super necessary, so that it can come out of that cocoon fully formed as the moth, right? I say moth because moths are in cocoons. Butterflies are chrysalis, but this feels more like moth energy to me too, because moths are associated with, death and rebirth, right? All right, let's see what your animal energy is, Scorpio. Oh, I also saw real quick, like stone working, and I saw the passage of time. I saw like flowers and weeds growing through this stone, and then them decaying, and then them coming back again and decaying. So it really feels like cycles and timing, and that has a lot to do. The erosion and passing of time. Yeah. Okay. Wow. The fish. Let's talk about this. So I love that this moon energy came up here for you. So the fish equates to the 7 of Cups. Okay, which is a lot of optionality, but can also lead to a sense of analysis paralysis, right? But I want to speak to what this is giving me based off your meditation specifically, which is without the needed time to get your own needs met and recharge your battery and reconnect to the joy. Reconnect to the joy of life, to the energy of life, to your own exuberance, right? This feels to me like you are filling up, ideally you'd have 1 cup, right? That you pull from and draw from and share with others from, right? But that is divided into 7 cups here, which means you might be feeling a bit drained, might be filled in a few different directions, pulled in a few different directions, feeling a bit like, oh, I'm over here, I'm over here, I'm over here, right? So this is saying to me, and it's interesting because I was getting this in the meditation as well, that going with the flow is where it's at. And in terms of going with the flow of what you need, not ignoring it, not trying to schedule it for a later date, right? Going with the flow in the sense of, I understand that I'm going to accept my needs as they come up and not judge them, right? And understand that they're coming up for a good reason, and that by acknowledging them, I'm going to be in a better position to continue doing what I want to do, whatever that may be, right? The fish, every animal energy has a light and a shadow aspect. The shadow aspect of the fish is that it actively does not want to go with the current, and so it gets pushed along it anyway, right? Move or be moved. The light side of the fish is that it understands that resistance is futile, right? Change is the only constant, and so what's the point in resisting change? What is the point in resisting the only constant? Change, right? And it is truly going with the flow. And thus it never really experiences any kind of really tension, because it's just truly going with it, right? You are definitely being asked to go with the flow and come from a place of allowance at this time. But also I'm really drawn to this moon. Moon and fish are associated with Piscean energy, which is deep feeling, but it's also the moon key, also associated with Scorpio as well. And so you're being asked to understand that the moon, just like you as a human being, has different phases and cycles, and to honor them. Yep. King of Swords here. Really loving this. Remember how I saw the tower and going up to the top of the tower and looking over to Meadow, and we have this eagle sitting on the top of this, what is this, a rock formation? Really cool. You know, the King of Swords energy is beautiful because the King of Swords is able to see clearly, right? In all directions of time and space. The eagle is also able to see the bigger picture and the finer points and details simultaneously. Right? The King of Swords also is that kind of energy where he doesn't necessarily feel the need to say everything that he sees, or right? He might clock you in his mind. He might be like, "Oh, okay." But he doesn't feel the need to call it out at every point in turn. That's why he's the King of Discernment. Right? I'm just really obsessed that he's sitting alone on this mountaintop, and I saw the Scorpio collective sitting alone at the top of a tower. Yep. I do feel like you're in a place where you're learning a lot about yourself at the moment. I would invite you to observe yourself while you're doing that, because the King of Swords is also a lot about observation. He observes things, but he doesn't feel, unlike the Queen of Swords, she will observe you and then check you twice. Right? She's the flatback queen. But the King of Swords doesn't feel the need, right, to necessarily let you know what he's, so definitely good and apt advice to be in a place of observation of yourself. I feel like this has to do with yourself and maybe of others too, but really learning discernment, right? This is stunning, and I'm really obsessed with this. So you have the Four of Wands here, right? It's 1111 is the happy home and family key. But I want to speak of something that was coming up in your meditation, which is getting your own needs met so that you can turn around and be a better partner, better friend, better sister, brother, whatever that is, right? This is the bowerbird, and it's so beautifully depicted here in this deck because the bowerbird, I believe, is the only bird, he creates, the male bowerbird creates a nest to attract his mate. He creates the nest first and then seeks out the mate. So he ready, right? But what is this? He's making sure that he has all his ducks in a row, so to speak, right? And making sure that he has a stable foundation to provide for his mate. That's some deep stuff right there. That is something else, right? I really feel like there is a strong message here around understanding your relationship to your foundation and understanding that by being in an energy that is conducive to you, you are allowing for an energy that is conducive to those around you, right? 1111, this is coming up for me because there's that mirror aspect of everything, but especially of 1111, right, with that mirror aspect. If everyone is a reflection to and for you, which I believe that we are all mirrors for each other. It's not just like one person out there who's our mirror. Everybody is a mirror to you, right? That's why they say when you meet someone and you don't know them very well, but they oh my God, they just rub you the wrong way. Like, and you're like, I don't get, why are they? Because they are mirroring something to you that you don't like about yourself. Interesting. I think you're learning a lot about yourself right now. I do. And it could be through, your relationships with other people or some, inward contemplation, but it's really interesting. Also could be some changes to the home or taking extra time to appreciate your home or extra care. Justice. Really, really beautiful. So this is Libra energy. This is a beautiful balance coming forward here. And also, traditionally speaking, this has to do with legal matters and contracts and things being, equally balanced and just, as it were. But I want to talk about the red-crowned crane, which is shown on this key, which I'm really obsessed with. So the red-crowned crane, energetically speaking, is about happy partnerships. Right? Happy partnerships, monogamy. I don't know if they're actually monogamous, but energetically they do represent monogamy. The red crown crane it's really funny it's coming up in this way because what the red crown crane has in common with the scorpion is that it needs its own time, right? It's a great partner, but it also needs time to go off and do its own thing, right? Which is really interesting here. What happens when the red crown crane doesn't have time to be on its own, and right, it feels a little overcrowded, it pecks. Like with that big beak, it'll peck and nip, really bust you in the forehead. It's really interesting. The red crown crane can go from two energies pretty quickly and seemingly without warning. Like one moment it'll be like on the lake, like like really calm and chill, and then the next moment it will peck you in the middle of your forehead, honey. Like it can go from 0 to 50, right? And what makes the difference between the two? It's like if it receives stimuli or something encroaches upon its territory, it'll flip real quick. So I love, and I think it's brilliant that because of that, and it's representing justice here, which speaks of balance. Because when we come from a place of balance, we can avoid that extremity, right? Yeah. Interesting. Let's get some clarifiers. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so I'm getting a message about the fish here. I'm seeing Jesus. I don't think I've ever said that in a reading before. But I'm seeing an image of Jesus and how he fed the people with, what was it, fish and bread and all of that good stuff. I feel like there's a message here about, again, going back to the same thing of like serving yourself so that you can serve others. But there's just this humanitarian aspect of this. I feel like whatever work you do or the energy that you embody is very directly and profoundly helping other people. You know, those who are in a position where that description, fits them, it is all the more important that you heal yourself so that you can turn around and heal others. Okay, that just feels really, really pertinent. Okay. King of Swords. Ooh! Four of Wands. Love when they repeat. So yeah, we spoke about this. God, don't you love a magpie? What's really interesting about this is that magpies are associated with fidelity. They're always kind of seen together. I'm actually staying somewhere right now where magpies are everywhere. Like everywhere. I think it's like one for joy, one for girl, boy. There's like a saying that goes along with this that I did not get out at all there. But this is really beautiful, especially with the pink roses here, which represent romantic love. This is a solid foundation. This is a happy partnership. I love that they're under a moon and a sun. It feels like both to me, right? Again, with this balance, equality. But I really am obsessed. Look at this. I just want to point this out because this is really funny. How this is being shown, compiled with what I saw in the meditation. We have a single solitary energy here in a darker landscape here, right, of stone, with the King of Swords sitting up here, right? Then we have like flowers and like, ooh, must smell nice with all those roses. And we have these two magpies who are sitting here loving and living their best lives together, right? So this is really interesting because we're talking about learning a lot about yourself, observing yourself, getting your own needs met, that's paired with this happy, solid foundation around you and the potential around building upon that and seeing it grow and flourish even more as you step into an observer role and really commit to your own self-growth and needs at this time. I'm also hearing from some of you there's pregnancy. Fish is also associated with pregnancy. I feel it. I feel it for somebody or somebody's is pregnancy. Okay. If not literal pregnancy, then you're thinking about children and your legacy and what you would leave behind and what kind of position you are in relationship to a family or a future family, or there's something about that. Okay? I'm thinking about the erosion of time I saw in your meditation, and that has a lot to do with ancestors and generations as well. Hello. So we have the Eight of Cups here. Wow, would you look at this realness? So Eight of Cups to clarify this Four of Wands here, again with this moon energy here. So the Eight of Cups traditionally is moving away from, relationships or dynamics that are not emotionally fulfilling. But I want to tell you something, because this is directly commenting on something that I experienced recently, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. So I do weekly spreads for myself, right? And part of the reason I do that is to build up a reference bank with the cards for spirit to work with when I do these readings, right? And when I do personal reads, they'll show me a day where I experienced that key. And when it comes up in a reading, I'm like, oh my God, okay, I know what this is about, right? It's a fun game, fun learning tool. Again, Tower of Learning. So I experienced recently the most positive Eight of Cups day that I've ever experienced. There is a connotation with Eight of Cups. It's like, oh, it's departure. It's moving away from. I feel like a lot of readers, and this is true for them, right? That Eight of Cups can symbolize like a breakup, breaking up with someone and moving on, right? I gotta tell you something though. Sometimes it's in relationship to where you've been that dictates the meaning and the context of the key, right? So for me recently, I had an Eight of Cups where I gotta tell you, for me, it was a Four of Wands. I had the best day. I felt more emotionally centered than I had in a minute. I felt like I could see clearly. I felt balanced. I felt like everything is gonna be good, right? Everything is good, actually, right? I don't care how it's gonna be. It's good right now, right? It's a very present moment reality, and I felt very emotionally clear. The waters were clear, right? So this came up in context of I had been in, what did I say this was? Seven of Cups? I had been in a Seven of Cups. Been in a Seven of Cups. I was in analysis paralysis. I was kind of stretched too thin. I felt back and forth about a lot of things. Yada, yada, yada. And then I got to Eight of Cups and I was like, oh my God, the relief. It just felt like, and if you think about it, 7 is an odd number. And 8 is an even number, so is 4, which feels better, doesn't it? Like equal balance. We can divide these things up evenly into even more even numbers. There's something about that. And so I love that this is coming up here. And look at this tiger looking at this single bowerbird. This feels like the ticket into your emotional stability, clear-mindedness, and happy home and foundation I keep hearing has a lot to do with your own introspection and also your observation of yourself. Did I do this recently on Instagram? What was it? It reminded me of something. There was an animal energy reading I did recently on Instagram. Was it Panda Energy? That said, when I practice self-observation, self-growth is imminent. Feels like that's at the heart of this. When I practice self-observation, self-growth is imminent. It feels like that's the key here. I also want to point something out too. This is a male bowerbird, right, showing with his nest here. Tigers for me are a feminine energy, also shown with the moon here, La Luna, which is a feminine energy. So this could also be about balancing the feminine and masculine aspects of yourself. I will say, it feels like you have been in a predominant masculine energy. Okay? Being there for others, which is a feminine energy, but it really feels like you've been doing quite a bit. Okay? Justice. Celebrate your birthday, even if it's not your technical birthday. Any way you would like. Whoa. This is deep. Okay, this came out in the reverse. I'm going to hold it upright for the purpose of, well, this. So, so this is really brilliant. So this is the Three of Swords here, which is, heartache and pain and just like all the deep feels that are not pleasant. Then we have Justice around this. I want to point something out. These are elephant tusks cutting through this heart, which is so brilliant because elephants represent long-term memory and ancestors and family. So we have this theme going back here with ancestors, family, where we came from, where we're going, right? Thinking about children, our parents, where we came from, really looking and feeling around all of those things, right? I also like the red crown crane with the red here as well. I feel like you have the potential to clear some ancestral or childhood pain. And on the other side of this, you're able to come to a greater sense of balance and self-awareness. Okay? feels like it's time. Feels like it's time. I feel like your advice here around that, yes, making time and allowance and room for it, but it's also to allow it. Look at all these moons you have here. Let's count the moons. Let's count the moons. Let's see. 1, 2. I don't want to lift it because it's in a good position. 3. With the fish here, you have 3 different moons showing up in this reading. Remember when we talked about the moth in the meditation as well? It's associated with death and rebirth and the moon and the darker energy, that as well. There is this aspect here. There is this aspect here of freedom being on the other side of release. Because I want to show you something here. Do you see this feather at the bottom here and the chains here with the heart? Do you know what this is referring to? So in the Egyptian mythology, when you would cross over, when you would die, oh my God, that's so weird with justice. Okay, hello. Your heart would be placed on one side of a scale and a feather would be placed on the other. And if your heart was heavier than that feather, then you had to go back and recycle, and that you weren't allowed to go forward because your heart was too heavy. But if it was lighter than a feather, then you were allowed to transcend and go on and, I guess, go to the happy place, as it were. And then you have justice, which is Libra, which is scales. How heavy is your heart? How heavy is your heart? Listen, for some of you guys, with these elephant tusks, this has to do with childhood pain, ancestral pain, parental pain, pain, right? I feel for others of you, there's this aspect of carrying the weight of the world around, right? You're being asked to temper that and ask how it's really serving you and how necessary it is. I feel like this is especially for those of you who are in fields where you give advice or people turn for you for guidance, or you have a certain platform where people look to you for how you feel about something to inform how they feel or how they could feel or what they think. There's something in this. It could even be you're the figurehead within your family who people turn to for support or call at 2 a.m. when they have a flat tire. You're the person that they go to. Whatever this is for you, you're really being asked to examine. I'm going to say this, and I feel like this is a special note for, maybe a smaller group of you guys, but it's coming up here. And this could be about you or someone in your atmosphere. But someone told me this some years ago. I can't remember who it was, but someone told me this, and they didn't stick with me, obviously, but the saying did. And that is, overgiving is a control issue. Overgiving is a control issue. There's this idea of, I'm giving, aren't I, isn't that great? Like, of course, that's what I'm giving. I'm a giver, right? Which, yeah, but extremity, right? Too much of something is like, right? It's about that balance, giving to yourself and giving to others, and understanding like, what is my relationship to generosity? What is my relationship to giving? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Would I do this if I got nothing in return? Would I do this if I never got a thank you? That's the question you're being asked. And how are we doing that? Through self-observation. And I do feel like this has to do with some of you guys' relationships or your relationship to your work. Okay? All right, Scorpio, this is some work. This is some deep stuff. But it also feels like, your birthday season, the death key, transformation, all of this, that this is the time to do it. So you can choose to allow it in and go with the flow of it and really experience immense growth and lightness on the other side of it. There is this aspect within the shamanic tradition associated with the 4 corners and the 4 directions, right? And they're showing me that as an aspect here about before you can complete the shamanic cross as it is, you first have to let go of anything that's heavy on your heart. And they're showing me that for you guys. Okay, on the bottom we have the witness. This feels real pertinent for y'all, okay? Some of you guys might be bearing witness Some of you guys might be holding that heavy space for others. Again, I'm seeing counselors. I'm seeing people with social media platforms. I'm seeing people who are part of a family unit that they're the one who everyone goes to. A wounded healer. Okay? Okay. Let's get an oracle for you guys. Ooh. Okay, I really cannot. I really cannot. The Holy Mountain. Is that not someone sitting on top of this mountain formation? Can you see that? Like, okay. So dude has his legs crossed and he's assuming like the meditation lotus position. Can you? Hi. Solitude. Solitude. Also 25, 5 plus 2 is 7. Back to the 7 of Cups. So the Holy Mountain. This is pretty much what it looks and feels like, people. The Holy Mountain is you assuming that position of solitariness, right? Your own solitary confinement here, in order to come back down the mountain and resume business as you like and see fit, right? But the mountain, does suggest that this dude isn't sitting up there thinking about his grocery list or, what on Jeopardy, what that answer was and why he did whatever. It's not casual. The Holy Mountain is not casual. It took a lot of work to get to the top of this mountain and probably not going to be too easy getting back down either. There's no helicopter. Waiting off camera here. There's no helicopter. This takes work to get there and then work on the descent as well. It's kind of, I channeled this for the collective reading as well. About the hero's journey has been coming up a lot within the collective energy that I've been channeling here. The hero's journey. The descent, I keep thinking of Odysseus as well. The way home is not just like a hop, skip, and a jump, and a blink, and like I click my heels 3 times, Dorothy, and I'm home. Not in this context, honey. Not in the context of the hero's journey. In a way, Odysseus had almost a harder time getting home than he did getting out in the first place. Right? I mean, Poseidon was angry. We won't get into that, but don't piss off a god. But there's an aspect here of being willing to go up there and do the work, both to get there and then what it's going to... See, the things that he discerns, the inner self-work, the facing his shadow so that he can transform is going to change him and is also going to affect him in how he perceives himself in the world and his journey, getting back down the mountain again. Right? This is a commitment. It's also super brave. It's also one of those things that it takes a certain amount of commitment and time. But if you feel called to do this, if you're feeling the stirring in your soul, to take some time on your own, to go inside and release what is ever heavy on your heart, right? If you need to step away from the podium or the platform or the telephone to do that, this work is here for you. And especially if you are a healer or someone who is really there a lot for others. This is a gift for you to give yourself. Okay? All right, Scorpios, do it to it. This is your November general reading. I so hope that this helped and resonated. If so, please let me know in the comments below. I would just love that. I love reading through your comments. And with that being said, just thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.